Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
All right. Welcome. Coaching Youth Hoops. Coach and I meet for like 3 hours and then we get like one podcast done. So
it literally, it's right now it's 9:44 a.m. my time. We started at 8 and we got one podcast in this week.
It's because we're too busy talking about other stuff. So we have to have like a talk meeting and a actual get stuff done.
Yeah, that's right.
It's pretty funny. All right. So before we jump into the podcast, which is about spacing, which I've got some ideas about spacing. I got to talk.
Oh, good. I can't wait to hear that.
But and an idea that I'll probably tell you off the air. So I'm not going to tell you on the air about something we could sell. We want to give a big shout out to Game Changer, right, Coach?
Yes, Game Changer. It's a free app, great for youth coaches to take stats on. Have a parent sit in the stands, take stats. You can stream games live. They're coming out with, this is what I'm really looking forward to, AI, where you just be able to film the game and let AI do all the stats tracking for you. That's going to be literally a game changer. But the beautiful thing about Game Changer, it makes it just super simple for youth coaches to have the data on the team. What's working, what's not working, who's the top scorer, what adjustments do you need to make in practice. So go check it out, gc.com/coaching youth hoops. Again, one more time, gc.com/coaching youth hoops, all one word.
So what is your thought, Coach, on spacing? Yes.
Well, I did this with my third and fourth grade team the other day, because that's where really kind of the idea of helping them understand the concept of space can start. And I broke it down and we had a discussion. And I broke it down into, I said, at the end of the day, what are we trying to do? And they said, well, essentially, because I say this all the time, put the little ball in the big hoop. At the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. And I said, okay, great.
Stopping the other team from doing it.
And then stopping the other team from doing it. Yeah, we were just talking about the offensive side. And I said, okay, well, what is the best way to do that? And I said, what's the most efficient way of doing that? Because we talk about efficiency in scoring. And they're coming up with answers, and and then finally they said, trying to get 1-on-0 with nobody in your way to go to the basket. I said, yes, that's if you had 1-on-0, that's the ideal, most efficient way to get to the basket, wide open layup, jump shot, whatever it is, nobody on you. I said, okay, well, what's the, and then we talked about 1-on-1s, and I'm like, that's still pretty good odds in getting to the basket. I said, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do as a team. So when you enter the space of somebody with the ball, now you've taken that away from them. Now it becomes a 2-on-2 situation. And then we talk about that a little bit. Is that good? Is that bad? And then anyway, so we kind of just did this building block of, and I was using logic to some sort of degree, right? Versus like being physically on the court and showing them why they need to be spacing. Because I thought, well, if I start with the why, which is trying to get to 1-on-0. And then what we built up to is, well, how do we get to 1-on-0 situations? And again, I'm talking to grade school kids, so it was very basic, set a screen, right? But doing some sort of cuts and things like that. And then they got that concept. And then I thought, okay, well, let's then scrimmage and see how they think, right? And they did it. It worked.
And it worked. How was the
It
defense
worked.
on it?
No, we didn't talk about defense at that point. It was just more.
I'm
What do you
saying,
mean?
how was the defense handling it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Is like, were they open because of the defense, or were they open because of what you were saying?
Well, you know how in grade school basketball, what happens is they all like go to one side where the ball is, and they just all clump together.
Right.
The beautiful thing about it is they stayed apart. They created that space, so the weak side didn't come over to the ball side. Right? They stayed over there, and they were doing down screens, and the weak side was, working their own thing, because we had talked about that, right? And I said, what's another
Right.
way to create a 1-on-0 situation on the weak side? They said, oh, I can go screen for somebody, they can get open, and the ball handler, hopefully will see them. And I'm like, yeah, and if they don't, then you get out of the way, right? So we did some very basic concepts like that worked, because then I was running up and down the court with them on the sideline saying, space is your offense, space is your offense, space is your right. So I was telling them that. And then, of course, we always have our ABCs, which is always be creating space.
Right.
I said, remember your ABCs, always creating space, always creating space. So now that ABC is not, that just didn't become a word. Now they knew why they needed to be creating space. Oh, we're trying to get a 1-on-0 situation. And that's what we're really trying to work for. I'm like, yes. Okay, go. All right. So that's kind of how I taught the concept to a very young team that was always trying to clump together. I broke it down into some logic, and then we went to practice, or we went to a scrimmage, and me then, running with them a full court scrimmage saying, okay, white team, space is your offense. Space is your offense.
Right.
And then I would freeze them. So, right. And I'd say, okay, freeze. And I'm like, how are we on our spacing?
Right. Yes.
And after 30 minutes of doing a scrimmage, they started separating. They started getting the concept. They started scoring. Right.
Well, I think part of it is too, it's like, I don't think they know. It's even harder for my guys. It's like, I don't even know if they know what single coverage is, double coverage is, you're getting trapped, all that. You got to kind of simulate that so they can kind of see.
Yeah.
Because they just get the ball and it's like a bull in a china shop.
That's right.
They're just gonna go. Yeah, I don't.
Well, and then what is spacing? It's like basketball is very complex if you think about it. Because now I'm going to say, oh, go screen on ball. But coach, you just told us to give me spacing, and now I'm bringing my defender over to, you know what I mean? It's like, what is proper spacing, and when do I use proper spacing, right? Is it always 5 out? Well, no, as you know, it's not always just sitting on the edges, right, and the fringes, and then you have a 4 out one situation too, right? So it's very complex. But obviously, you got to start somewhere, and you got to break it down at the grade school level to be very basic, so they get the idea of spacing.
Yes. And it's like, you got to show them, hey, before we dive any farther, let's talk about our sponsor who's bringing this to us.
Yeah, Game Changer. Coaches go to gc.com/coaching youth hoops, all one word. Check out Game Changer. It is an app you can download. Parents can sit in the stands, take stats for you. You can actually take film, so you can see, you can show your kids what is happening on the court, so they can understand spacing and what good spacing is and what bad spacing is. You can literally show them, because a lot of times, as you know, coach, a player will say, well, I was out of the play, or I had good spacing. And I'm like, film don't lie, right? So here's the chances for youth coaches to get a free app, to show film, But here's the beautiful thing. If a parent can't make it to the game, they can see that game live. They can see the stats live. Or if you have grandma across the country from you, she can tune into the game and see everything live as well. So there's live streaming that goes along with the app as well. Again, it's free for coaches to use and to use it for taking stats. gc.com/coaching youth hoops.
All right. So getting back to spacing and the youth thing is, it is probably the hardest thing to teach.
I agree.
In coaching. I'm not even talking about youth coaching. I'm just talking about like soccer coaches and hockey coaches and basketball coaches and football. I mean, it's all about creating space or taking space away. If you're on the defensive end, you want to take space away. If you're on the offensive end, you want to create space. So I think that is all of it. It's like it's just kind of knowing how to teach that and break it down into small little pieces for them. And this is where some small-sided game stuff can really kind of help if you maybe break the court into half and do some 3-on-3 so they can read those specific things. But I just think that's a great way to kind of go through the teaching of it and breaking it down. What do you do as far as breakdowns and the teaching part of it?
Yeah, I definitely do quarter court type of things and have them just do that movement. The freezing seems to work really well too, so they understand, oh, I just brought my defender over to the ball side for really no reason. Right? And a lot of times you see the younger players just kind of like running from one side to the other. And what we focus a lot on is the movement with purpose and what you're trying to do, right? That's why we try, don't want to script it, but there's some scripting that does happen in the offense, so they know kind of next actions, if you will. But yeah, we break it down, then we'll go to a half court 3-on-3 type of situation, talk about what we're trying to achieve there, right? Wide open lanes. But I created this ebook because I think it's a great way. It helped me, and I've been using it as my Bible in practice.
Right.
How to help players. It's kind of twofold. It's helping coaches teach differently, but helping players remember plays. In this case, remember spacing. So if you go to coachingyouthhoops.com/remember-basketball-plays, it's a free download, and it puts some.
I'll put that in the show notes too.
Yeah. Again,
so dash is where's dash?
Next to on the Mac, it's next to the 0.
Is it the top one or the bottom one?
Bottom one.
It's the little one.
Sure. It's the little one. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, people. If you're like, I always get like / or hash or whatever. Okay, because I always put it in wrong when I'm doing it. But go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's coachingyouthhoops.com. Remember basketball plays with the slash in between each of those words. Remember basketball plays.
Yeah.
And I mean, actually, a parent filmed me the other day. I had all the 3rd and 4th graders sitting in front of me, and I had a whiteboard. And I was showing, so I show them, I diagram things out step by step, and then we go do it. And that's just been an absolute game changer for us, is they're connecting the two, and they picked up the offense in a short amount of time by doing that. So when teaching spacing in this particular case is you really spend the time to be a teacher, coach, what I'm talking about, drawing things out, because people learn differently, showing them what it looks like, what proper spacing looks like. And that's why I said, if you're using Game Changer, the app, you can show them the film of what spacing looks like. And I think that visual aspect will really help young players understand where they need to be and should be. But the breakdown drills definitely help. Again, share with them what you're trying to do. That we're trying to get a 1-on-0, so we have a wide open layup. What are all the ways within your offense that you can do that? I can set screens. I can set weak side screens, right? Flash to the ball. I can cut. I can cut hard, right? To see when you get the ball back. Right? I can clear one side. Multiple ways to get that 1-on-0 situation, but you need to be moving together in sync.
Right. And it's hard at the youth level to talk about single gap, double gap, triple gap, like what they are, what they look like. You just got to show them those specific spacings. I agree. All right. Anything else, Coach, with spacing? We could spend like
yes. And I think I want to leave with this. Spacing is difficult. It's a difficult concept to teach and to have the kids comprehend that, especially in basketball where there's so many moving parts. But just be patient, break it down into the smallest, the minute level of to help them understand what it means. So, all
right. Anything else, Coach? Oh, Game Changer. Let's give a big shout out to Game Changer again.
Yeah, and again, to really show that spacing, if you want to take film on your games, pretty easy to do with the Game Changer app. It's free. And you can then later show your kids, hey, here's film, here's what spacing looks like. Again, it's gc.com/coaching youth hoops. It's a free app. It's helping us pay for this podcast.
Yep. And I can take my wife out to Chipotle. There we go. All right. Thanks, Coach.
Till next time, Coach.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.